I want to share with you an Unnatip that happens within Plow pose or Halasana, and we call this Parsva Halasana. Let me show it to you first on the floor because, Plow pose in the hammock has you completely covered and it's really hard to see. So on the floor, you will get a sense of what we're going to do in the hammock. So I'm going to lie down first. I'm going to bring myself into the Plow pose. Voila. And Parsva Halasana is a bit of a twist within the Plow pose. So what I would do is I would bring both feet over to one side. So this time I brought my feet to the right. And then I bend the knees in towards the right shoulder. And that's how I'm going to do it in the hammock. When you do this on the floor, you don't always bend the knees, right? In fact, you might want to still try to lengthen through the spine so that you don't compress in the neck at all. But in the hammock, we don't have to worry about that neck compression. And so we're going to actually keep the knees in pretty close to the shoulder so that you can actually get the twist. Then, of course, you would do the other side, both feet over to one side, and I'll show you on the floor. Hopefully, you get a good sense of the spine rotating. Okay, so let's try it in the hammock. First of all, I have to get in the hammock. That is going to require making sure that it's not folded, of course. And as you know, the way we teach Plow pose, you lie down in it with the hammock over the tops of the shoulders. This is how everyone teaches Plow pose. Fabric comes over the tops of the legs, and then I recommend holding on from the inside so that your whole arm stays covered in fabric, especially since we're actually going to ask you to take more of you outside the hammock, so it's even a little bit riskier. So as I bring my feet through the center and tip myself upside down, normally with Plow pose, I have people, of course, try to straighten through the legs, but also try to lift the hips up, maybe press, even push into the hammock with the shoulders so that you can lengthen the spine. And I'm almost 100% of the time encouraging people to keep the hips kind of in between the arms. So like really it feels more like inside the hammock, not outside the hammock, so that we have that fold in the hip crease area. And you get that total verticality for the spine. Now, for this position, however, I'm going to have us take the hips on the outside, but I also want you to bend your knees. There you go. So you can see I'm kind of like in a little, almost like a child's pose in a way. Now, to make this easier on myself, I have the fabric as close to the knees, the fabric edge, as close to the knees as possible, so I have as much of my lower leg covered with fabric as possible. But really the key for keeping this easy for you, and not something that requires a lot of strength, is simply to keep the knees in close to the chest. Now, let's check it out. I'm going to take the knees over to the left side first so you can see, right, as I do that, the hips sort of drop towards the floor. Right, so I'm going to keep squeezing the knees in towards the left shoulder as much as possible. That's how you get the twist. Okay, and of course then there's the other side. Taking the knees over to the right shoulder, letting the hips drop to the left as much as possible. Look, I'm really squeezing those knees in towards the right shoulder. Hopefully you can see how close they are to each other. And of course I come back to neutral. Now once you come back to neutral, of course you can do whatever you want at that point. Some of you like to stretch out. You can come back to straight legs and trying to lengthen through the spine, whatever. And then rolling back in, of course, to release from the position. That is Parsva Halasana, and that's our Unnatip for today.